The Lucona Incident, which later blew up to become the Lucona Affair, has everything that one would expect from a mafia movie. Murder, insurance fraud, fast cars, big cigars, and a weirdly charismatic criminal. Set far away from most of the crime scenes covered on YouTube, this one takes us to Austria, the country right on the border between Central and Eastern Europe. On the 23rd of January 1977, the Lucona, which was transporting a uranium processing machine, which was loaded onto it in Italy and bound for Hong Kong, blew up in the Indian Ocean near the Maldives. The ship sank within 2 minutes and 6 crew members lost their lives. What looked like a tragic accident at first quickly became a huge case of insurance fraud and possible murder, as the cargo was insured for the hefty sum of 212 million shillings, which would be about 48 million euros or $51.6 million in today's money. The insurance company refused to pay this sum, as they argued that there was no actual uranium processing machine on board, but worthless scrap metal which was sourced from a closed-down coal mine, as well as a plastic extruder, a machine used, for example, for the making of plastic bottles. The estimated actual value was no more than 1 million shillings, about 73,000 euros or $78,000. Furthermore, the charter of the ship, who was said to be in cahoots with the fraudster, slowed down the journey of the Lucona purposefully by not paying harbor tolls on time. So it would be in the deepest waters of the Indian Ocean when the time of the explosives on the ship would go off. Now, who was responsible for this? Who chartered the Lucona in 1976, insured tons of worthless rubble and killed 6 people, only to make a few million shillings? Enter Udo Proksch, the Austrian designer, businessman, and, after the Lucona incident, mass murderer, studied arts in Vienna in the 1950s for a few semesters and gave himself the name Sergei Kirchhofer for his design career. Under the same name, in 1972, he became the sole authorized signatory for the famous Daimler confectionery, who, back when there was still a monarchy in Austria, was the Imperial Bakery, and in 1974 he became the confectionery's sole owner. The most curious of his endeavors was for sure the so-called the Association of the Vertically Buried, which wanted to seal its members, once deceased, into plastic tubes and bury them, you guessed it, vertically. Thereby, they would both benefit the plastic industry and save space on graveyards. Proksch also wanted to create a restricted zone, basically a war zone, where men who were not actually in the army could let out their, as he called it, innate urge to kill with actual ammunition and weapons. He had a good relationship with Karl Lütgendorf, Austria's then Minister of Defense, so he got several loans of old military planes and trucks, and he also got military explosives from him, which he would later plant on the Lucona. Before we can look at how the Lucona case was solved, we need one last piece of the puzzle. Club 45. Club 45 was a kind of gentleman's club run by the who is who of Austria's Social Democratic Party, who used the Daimler confectionery in Vienna's inner city as their meeting place. Here, Udo Proksch got to know the who is who of the mighty and influential of the time, most of them social democratic politicians. In the 1970s, the Social Democrats had the absolute majority in the country and were at the pinnacle of their after World War II power. Some people argue that Proksch has recorded what was going on during these meetings and thereby could blackmail and extort its members. Whether this is true or not, due to Proksch's good standing with the club's members, he was only arrested with fraud connected to the ship sinking in 1985, but was released after just 2 weeks. Thanks to the investigations of 2 Austrian journalists, Gerhard Freinhofer and Hans Präterebner, and their book Der Fall Lucona, or The Lucona Case, which released in 1987, Proksch had to flee the country, first to Manila, where he got facial reconstruction, and then he was on the run all across Europe, but he was eventually taken into custody at Vienna's Schwechat airport in 1989. He was eventually charged with 6 counts of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder, as the Lucona had 12 crew members. In what was one of the longest trials in Austria after World War II, he was sentenced to life in prison in 1992. His sentencing was also the final straw for Club 45. He died in 2001 of complications following a heart transplant and is buried at Heiligenstädter Friedhof, a cemetery in Vienna's 19th district. So yeah, I thought I'd tell you this story because it doesn't get enough attention, I think, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.